Today is Thursday, October the 3rd, 2023, and welcome to episode 116 of Rural Reliance with Canny Couple. I'm Julia.
And I'm Aaron.
And we are a small homestead family in Virginia that work every single day to merge homesteading and frugality, trying to live below our means and keeping up our debt-free life because we are 100% debt-free
Right.
if you're new to our channel. And today is October, and you've noticed that we've missed a segment, and we've actually decided to push this out a week.
Just the way it falls in the month, sometimes we're not completely done with the month from a
Budget standpoint.
Yeah.
And that is our Homestead Frugal tactics. And what this is where we talk about our budget, what went well, what went wrong, what we're noticing in patterns, and how we're going to try to combat that, if we're going to combat it right now or if we're just going to sort of let it sit. And we just talk about, in real numbers, what our budget looks like and how it works for us.
Yep.
And where we're saving money. And this can seem repetitive. We understand that. But if you've noticed, there's a method to the madness in staying home, not going places, limiting your trips out, being very vigilant on your grocery budget. All these things help you save money in the long run.
It does.
It really does. So, there's been a lot of financial things happening in the past few weeks. Interest rates.
Those went down. So you can look at it two ways. It might help you from the perspective of if you have debt,
Yep.
you have lower interest rates now.
People are looking at jumping back into the housing market because it went down.
Then you've got the other side that might be saving money. They want the higher interest rates to gain more interest on the money they have out there. So, I mean,
I think you might be
got
both.
the pros and cons.
You might be both.
Yeah.
You might be like, well, I have my savings account and then I have my mortgage. I'd
Right.
like one of them to be, there's like a happy balance
I know.
with that. But there has been a lot of, financial stuff happening lately. But even with this drop, I don't foresee prices going down anytime soon for things.
No. So that's another thing with them dropping the interest rate. That means they were saying that, they don't think inflation's going to go up anymore.
These are the financial experts.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if anybody's truly an expert in this
Right,
field. We
right.
certainly are not. We're just giving you our opinion. I think that we've kind of, the grocery prices we have right now are the grocery prices we're going to have. I don't foresee them going down. Or going up.
Well, I was going to say that they're probably going to go up sometime.
And this is hard for me. I had to struggle with this.
It's hard to go back and look at those prices from before and be like, well, I was paying this 2 years ago. Why would I pay this now?
It's struggle. It's so much a struggle.
That was just something, when we were reviewing recently, the ads. We were like, ain't nothing on sale, Well, we're looking at a sale perspective from what used to be.
Well, we're not buying as much as we used to either. My
not.
ad was one page shorter. It was what they had left out, like the insert in the middle. So it was two pages front and back shorter than what it would normally have been. If that goes to tell you, they're cutting.
They don't want sales.
They don't want sales. They know you have, especially if you live in a rural place, you have to go where you have to go. Or most people aren't willing to drive. Like, we will make a trip occasionally to a grocery store that's a little further. We've talked about looking at some others. They're just a hike for us to go. To get to. It's not convenient for us to go to Kroger, like, at all, period. And I know a lot of people would be like, well, to catch the good deals, you have to, be inconvenienced. Not for the amount of gas it would take for me to get there and try to catch the deals. Plus, that grocery store where it's located is so picked over.
It is.
It is so picked over. When we went there one time for sales, it was a madhouse. It was completely insane. And I used to shop there a lot with my gram because that's where she likes to shop. She would shop there on Senior Day. So we would go there on Senior Day. But it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So for us, we kind of have to deal with the prices that we have. We have to manage that. And I have to say we're doing pretty well. So let's just start jumping right in and going through a lot of our big main categories. So electricity, we've actually went down.
We were down. Is about $5 and something compared to the month before. So we was $156.99 in August, and September we were $151.12. So we made a little cut.
It's going to keep going down.
It's going to keep going down. It's that time of year when temperatures fall. Next month it's going to be way lower. But
It'll be way lower.
what else did we do from an electricity standpoint? We made a big change.
We did. We cut out a light.
And you're like, okay, you cut out a lot. Well, okay. So what we actually cut out was we got rid of the outside light that's on the pole from the power company. So we were paying $12 to $15 range per month for this light.
He told me I was lying when I told him this.
Yeah, we'll get into the specifics in a minute of this, but we were paying $12 to $15 a month for that, and we were like, let's cut that out. We can get something solar. We could have it paid in a year, and then whatever it lasts longer. I mean, we're coming out to the good type of perspective. But so far, we haven't even replaced it yet. I mean, I know we need to, but it's not a top priority for us at the moment. So let's talk about that. So I call, and I know. So I called and I said, I'd like to have this turned off. Okay, we'll put in a work order. Week passed, hadn't heard anything. Finally, somebody else calls back. They said, "Oh, you want to have your light removed?" I'm like, "Yeah, or just turn it off." I said, "Whichever's easier, We can turn it off, but you still got to pay for it each month." I said, "What?" They said, "Yeah." They said, "A lot of people in the summertime turn them off and still pay for it, and then in the wintertime they'll turn it back on." I was like, "No, remove it then." I was like, I ain't paying for it or just having turned off. That doesn't even get the principle of it. Well, then they showed up one day, and they were like, "Oh, there's no way." They told her that it was like, "You're paying for that much for that." And then they got up there and took it down, and they said, "Oh yeah, maybe you were. We haven't made these models and
we don't make these models anymore. This is the old, like the first ones, almost the first ones they put out."
I think he called them Mercury something.
So they were Mercury something.
So that's a little concerning there as well, but whatever. But they took it down.
They offered us the LED. We just decided not to. We could just put a solar light up there, and it'll work fine.
The less dependency we have on the power company, and as much as our power's off, the solar would work more than the one on the pole.
We get much more light in that area now that we don't have the trees. That would have been a concern before when we had the trees that were so high up there that it, for a good part of the afternoon there was no sunshine at all. Right. That would have been an issue. Well, now it gets full sun all day long. It's not a problem.
So either way, our next one should be cheaper. Keyword should.
He'll be on it. He'd be calling.
I just know that they're going to leave it on there and be like, "Oh, well, we didn't take that down. We still got to charge you that $12 to $15, or you had it taken off on the 3rd of the month, and those 2 days we have to charge you the full amount for the whole month or something." That's what I'm waiting for.
That'll be it.
Yeah,
absolutely. With yep.
I'm just like, oh.
In addition to cutting off that light, we are also running our fans versus the actual air conditioning units right now. So they have a fan setting.
Yeah, okay, I was gonna say.
They have a fan setting, so we just switched that, and it uses like a fourth.
Maybe even less than that.
Of the energy.
It uses, I think the one in the dining room uses about 50, 60 watts. And then the one in the bedroom, I was thinking was like 30 or 40.
Yeah, it's so much less.
So, I mean, we go from that.
And that's on high. I put them on high, let them blow out, and just what I do is I watch the temperature on the units, and once it gets past the temperature that I want the house to be, once it gets to that number, then I switch it to the air.
Yeah. So I mean that should save us money
It should.
on, you know, well, so we get our electric bill. So we explain that again. So our September electric bill won't actually come until another 5 or 6 days from today. So
we pay for the month before.
So when we set our September bill, we're actually really referring to our August bill.
Yeah. So, but we've been doing that a lot. Like there's like today we didn't even turn the air conditioning on. It just ran the fans all day, which really, and the house wasn't hot or anything. And I'm canning. So going into canning, I've been canning like crazy, but I've been doing it strategically. So our electric pressure canner, the Presto, it actually does not pull that much energy.
Compared to water bath canning on the stove.
Compared to the water bath canning or even pressure canning on the stove.
Right.
It does not pull nearly as much energy. It's I think of it as like a souped up Instapot. That's what it is. That's it. That's it. It's a souped up Instapot. Like it works very similar. It's got a few more safety things on it to make sure that the lid doesn't pop off or anything like that. But it does not pull the amount of energy that the stovetop does. We check that whenever I run it. Like we'll look at the days I actually run it versus the days that I don't, see how much actual energy we're using. We're not seeing a significant difference. So I have actually been really pressure canning as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Just about every day, if not every day, every other day. And we're trying to get as much as we can out of our freezers into the cabinets, into the pantry.
Yeah, and this is where you were talking about wanting to get down to 2 freezers as well. So she's trying to take a lot out of the freezers to cut that back. And like we said, the Montgomery Ward stand-up freezer, if we could cut that off, that might save us another $10 to $15 a month as well.
Yes, and that doesn't seem like a significant amount, but it really is. Well, it would help.
Let's say right there, $150 last month, and 15 from the light, 15 from the Montgomery Ward thing might put us down to 130.
Yeah.
I mean 120.
Yep. Be great. It would be awesome. And that was before they had all the rate increases when you calculated that dollar amount, so it might actually be more than that.
No, I haven't calculated since then.
Now, water bath canning, I also do this very strategically. So I'm pressure canning. I do all my prep work and work through all that and get that done. I try to do 1 load a day. And we're pressure canning potatoes, sweet potatoes. I did our squashes. I'm doing hamburger. I'm going to be doing some turkey here soon. So we're pressure canning everything that needs to be pressure canned. Now, I have a lot of things that need to be water bath canned. I don't do those until it's cooler. Like, it has to be a certain temperature out. Like, today would have been a great day if I hadn't already had plans for today to water bath can because it was cooler outside. I like it to be days where I can open up all the windows, open up the door, and just let that cool air come through. Now, right now, probably wouldn't open up our door unless we could get a screen up in the door.
Stink bugs.
The stink bugs have just invaded Virginia. If you live in Virginia, you know that's her state bird.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, the amount of them are crazy, so I probably wouldn't open up an actual door. But it does keep it so much cooler. The last time I did tomatoes, because I did them one day, it was really cool. I didn't heat the house up at all, and I didn't turn on any air conditioning units. I just ran the fans and had the windows open. And it didn't get the house very warm at all.
Right.
It works really well for me. This is why I don't can throughout the summertime. You heat your house up so much. You do not realize how much heat comes off of those canners.
And then your AC has to compensate to bring it back down. And
if you don't have anything but a small AC unit, like that thing, it can't compete, especially if you have like our beast on the canner and you're cooking the food, you're trying to make things, you're running a dishwasher or you're heating up your jars, you're doing all of these things. It can get so overwhelmingly hot. I know I've done it, I've been there. Yeah. And after last year, we've really learned that I have to kind of plan out exactly when I'm going to can based off these cool days. Same thing with dehydration. Anything that I do that's going to heat up a room, I'm doing it on a cooler day. Crock pot. The crock pot sets off more heat than the Instant Pot. It really does. I've noticed when I use a crock pot, it will still get the kitchen warmer than if I use my Instant Pot. So I tend to lean on the Instant Pot when I'm cooking. I'll tell you, this has really changed our electric bill. It has.
Yeah.
It changed it so much. It really lowered because I don't do as much cooking on my stove and in my oven.
No.
I might turn my oven on once a week. Sometimes twice a week if I'm making pizzas.
Right.
And that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, anything else we try to do in the Ninja, and we run that off the battery.
We run that off the battery. Now, gardening, we're still getting produce off the garden. It's a limited amount, but we are still getting some stuff.
Tomatoes, peppers, gojis.
I don't think the gojis are ever going to end.
Right. Yeah, me either. But that's some of the items that we're still getting. I guess that, and we will have hopefully some sweet potatoes to get. To pull up and stuff. Before we get to the first frost.
Absolutely. So this leads into our grocery bill because we're still getting produce. Lettuce. I'm harvesting lettuce for Aaron. He takes
That's true.
lunch.
We forgot about lettuce, and we were getting some strawberries as well.
We're still getting strawberries.
Yeah.
A few of them. They're very sweet right now.
They're really
very,
good.
very sweet. When I can get the little one to eat them, she'll eat them every other time.
Means
she
I get
wants
them
more.
the other time.
He gets them the other time because we're only getting like 5 or 6 at a picking. And with our strawberry, you have to eat them right when you pick them, or they're not good. They'll go bad that fast.
Last, a couple of days or anything.
No, they don't last 12 hours. But this goes into our grocery bill, and we're a lot lower on our grocery bill than I thought we were going to be this month.
Yeah, it was about $30, $40 range less than where we would have been. So we were definitely under the $300 mark. That's always a plus.
Well, we had a stockpile visit. We went and picked up a few things that we needed. So I had to stockpile a few items to have on hand, some convenience items that I keep on hand. We also had some things that we bought for the homestead for canning.
We did.
One of them went to the homestead category.
That's what I was going to say.
The apples went to the homestead category. The sweet potatoes and the tomatoes went to the grocery budget.
Right.
This is where, if I have room in the grocery budget, I'll put them there at the beginning of the month. We didn't know where to put the apples.
Right. They could go either or.
They could.
They're for the homestead. They're for
grocery. It could go either way.
Right.
It really could. We decided to go ahead and get sweet potatoes. I thought they were more expensive at our local place, and they were actually really.
Yeah, I got a whole box for
40 pounds.
40 pounds for 25.
25, yeah.
$25.
And then I got one box of candy tomatoes, just to make sure I had enough.
We were a little worried from when the dry spell was. We might have been okay, but we didn't take the chance just because how much we eat.
Tomato products are one thing I don't play around with. I did 80 jars one year.
So a box of canned tomatoes for us is $10. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's really reasonable. It's not bad at all. So I've got those. We'll get those processed, and that's just a little extra buffer on our stockpile in our pantry. But it does kind of help. So this was a really big stockpile month for us when it comes to what we actually spend on groceries. But I will tell you, there haven't been many groceries on sale. Very, very little. I recently did a stockpile video. Make sure you check that out. And I'm going to tell you that
that was probably your best deals of the whole month.
That's probably my best deals of the whole month. That really was.
I know.
This is me digging through the ads and looking and searching, and I'm even looking at other ads trying to find better deals. It's been really hard grocery-wise, and I know people are struggling. Yeah. They don't have a built-up working pantry, so it makes it so much harder for them to say, nope, I don't need this week, when they actually do need it this week. Yeah. It makes it so much harder. Now, we're coming to the one where we really blew this part of the budget.
The homestead.
The homestead.
We did. We were about 150 over. Okay, so what was the 150 over about? Trees.
Trees. We had a lot of trees that had to be replaced. They were. We knew this was coming. We knew this had to happen. This
And
is going to be a few year
right,
process
and
as well.
we're still not. I mean, we still might have some we get in October here as well, but we didn't want to spend any more in September on
Yeah.
it. I mean, there was a few different varieties that we got. I did get some cheese, the Chinese mulberry, the cheese. I've been trying to get it for a couple of times now. Um, Supposedly she had them in stock, so hopefully I do get some of those. And then we got a
Did you get another one that's
the
citrus?
citrus, the flying something citrus. It's the only citrus that you can grow above like zone 7. And everybody says, they call it like an orange or something, but it's
A
not really an
lemon.
orange, but it's closer to a lemon. One of those, we bought 2 from the same person last year, and one of those is doing good. The other didn't make it, so we were like, okay, let's try a couple more of those again. And then we stocked up on some sea berries from Burnt Ridge. So Burnt Ridge was having a sale right now, unsexed sea berries. I think it's $2 a piece, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that. So with the sea berries, you got to have a male and a female. We bought 3, 2
I
or
thought
3.
we bought 20.
Well, right, they come in 20 bunches, but we bought 2 or 3 of those.
I thought we
bunches.
bought 2.
Okay, it might be 2. So we got like 40 coming. And those are nitrogen producers. So either way, they'll help.
The soil, even
Right.
if we don't get berries, they'll help the soil. And we kind of have places for them where other trees have died.
Before the ones we got from there, most of them lived until we got that 0 degrees that one year. And only one of them is still surviving out of that bunch from before. So we haven't had anything produce off that one. But, that was some of the things we did get in the homesteading.
So we were expecting it. We knew this
Yeah.
was eventually going to happen. We've been under budget in the homestead category most months.
Mm-hmm.
and we knew this was going to happen. We did. And we've been able to compensate in other areas in our budget to make sure that we do not go over our total budget, which is
Right.
what's important to us. And I know a lot of other people will say, well, you can't go over a category. We're not that inflexible when it comes to the budget. As long as we meet our final number and we don't go over that, we're okay.
Yep.
That's all I care about. I want to be under that final number.
Right.
But I will go and buy stuff for the house with any extra cash just to make sure I have that on hand for a stockpile. That's how I keep us on budget, how I keep us well stocked. The other thing where we went over was on eating out. What I'm noticing here is a pattern. If we travel at all,
So we took a trip.
Mm-hmm.
When we take a trip, eating out. So far this year, eating out has been under every month except 3.
the 3 we traveled.
Those 3 were each times we traveled there.
So I know a lot of people will say, well, take some food, take some meals. I don't have the bandwidth at this point to do that while traveling with a 2-year-old. She
Yeah.
takes enough of my energy. And when we go out, typically food is on Aaron. I handle food. Most other places, he typically handles where we're going to eat.
Right. So I usually come up with some unique places, stuff like that. Something, we couldn't try around home, for example.
Yep.
Local chain, a country cooking type place, something like that.
Yeah, so we have noticed that. So we're going to find ways to combat that for next year. Hopefully travel will be a little bit easier with the little one and we can combat that and find, ways to mitigate.
Bologna sandwiches.
Or peanut butter and jelly. They don't require as much refrigeration. Now we did get some good deals. So Aaron scored a circuit
So this is something we've been talking about
for a while.
Just because of her creativity. Well, it's true
It is.
because when we look at our potential side hustle list, this is one that keeps coming up.
Yep.
And you're like, well, maybe a circuit. So, for example, our logo, if you've seen it before, that's something that she drew out for us. And we were like, every time we think about the circuit, we see it on sale on Prime Day. It isn't really off much, We're just like, let's just wait. Well, we were yard selling, I guess it's about two weekends ago now, and we were like, okay. I went over here. I was finding some good deals. This one, you were changing a diaper at the time, and
watching deer.
And watching deer in a big subdivision,
big neighborhood.
Yeah, big neighborhood, and picked up some DVDs, some T-shirts, and then I saw, oh, there's a circuit over there. It said $60 for the circuit, plus the bag of accessories. So it had some blank T-shirts in it.
A little bit of vinyl.
Some
other accessories.
Some other accessories, stuff like that. And I was like, well, maybe she'll want this. So I told him, I said, might be back in just a second. Let me walk down here and, ask her. And so we picked that up for $60. So something that was on our want list that might have future potentials, so we'll have to play around with it some,
Yeah, I've got to set it up and get that figured out. So it's typically like around $300, a little under that, $60. And they said they used it a few times, handful of times.
Yeah, you could
Looks
tell
really good.
Yeah, the only thing was they just put like
that they put some decals that they actually printed from it on their thing, which is fine. You could take those off. That's not a big deal. And that works. I mean, I might have to pick up a few things, but you could typically buy those kits of the extra stuff relatively cheap on Amazon. Let's put Prime Day. You can get the extra stuff for good deals. It's the actual equipment to start moving forward that's more expensive. So that's kind of why we were looking at that.
So definitely something, we might have in the future. You never know. We might have some T-shirts or something like that in the future, something like that.
He puts a lot of faith in me.
I do.
He does. eBay. I'll tell you, September was our best month ever selling this year.
Yes. And we got to the point
Yep.
where an eBay store had to be opened.
Yep.
So that means there was over 250 listings that you were able to get together and up and entered and everything like that. So we were hovering around 290 range or so here going into October, with the goal of her getting up 500 by the end of the month.
Yep.
Because quarter four is when everything sells more for the holidays and stuff like that. So that's another step forward there. I know it's an expense at the same time.
But it's my business expense, so it's on my business. Yeah. It's on that part. It's on the side hustle.
Right.
It's just part of the side hustle
exactly.
itself. It is not actually, like, we're making enough, even if it's not a lot, we're making enough sales to cover it.
Yeah. And at the same time, here in October, unless something crazy happens, we'll get our top rated seller status back on eBay.
Yeah.
Which helps as well. So the store and the top rated seller status both has some fee reductions as well. So that means they don't take as big of cuts off if you have both of those. So that will help from that perspective as well.
Yeah. So we felt really good about that. So we had some fails this month. We had some successes. But I feel like for the most part, we're actually moving along really well because we were still under budget overall.
Yes.
I mean, we were still under budget overall. We still managed birthdays and everything like that.
Because that goes into the sinking funds.
It goes into the sinking fund. I was planning ahead for October. I have 2 birthdays in October. I don't want to be scrambling to take care of one at the beginning of the month, one at the end. If I don't plan ahead. Well,
we're not 100% done with birthdays.
Well, you got to figure out which won't.
Postal Service. I got a
Empty packet.
An actual envelope
That was open.
that would been opened with nothing in it, and it looked like, I don't know, the contents fell out somewhere along the way, but so have to go back to square one for that $20.
It's okay. But I feel like we've made a lot of progress. This was probably a realistic, like, towards the end of the year, buying month for us. And we did really well. I would say the keys here, the keys to our success and staying under our overall budget, even though we went over in a few, was we were constantly in communication about the budget.
Yes.
I can't stress this enough. You have to be on the same page. You have to be talking with your partner about this. It doesn't have to be a long conversation. 5 minutes at most.
Right.
5 minutes at most. You put the numbers together. Whoever's responsible for that. If one person, if you both hate it, take turns.
Right.
Come up with a process that works for you both. Use an app. They have the apps. I will tell you, for me, the app would be more frustrating because of the categories. If I had to categorize every single receipt and everything in every single receipt, I would lose my mind.
Yeah. So I mean,
our current system works well for us.
Right. It works for us.
It does.
Something else might work better for you, but for us, just a basic sales spreadsheet.
We've done this enough. Aaron was already familiar with it. We've improved it, changed it along the way, and made it better and better every year. Even this year, we added multiple lines and multiple things to it just to help make it even better.
Yeah.
We really did. We added how much do we have left in the budget?
Right.
Like, without having to add it all together.
Right. Yeah.
We never had that before.
We were sort of adding it together. We built some monthly graphs to see, how much money is in and out, and from a yearly perspective as well. Those type of things to really help and create an average for the year as well, so that we can check each month to see where we're at from an average perspective.
So it's worked out really well for us, but I would say the only reason, like, if we had just went and I'd just spent like I would have before at the grocery store or done all those things, we would have probably been over budget if we hadn't been as cautious, even because we went over budget in a few of our categories.
Yep.
We probably would have been way over budget overall if we hadn't been as conscious of it and as mindful and talked through each of these purchases and each of these buys.
Right.
So what do you think was the best thing we did this month?
Well, it's one that we didn't actually even talk about that I just noticed just then. And that's going to say our gas. So we were actually, it's one of our 4 lowest months throughout the year so far. And that was with us going on a trip, yard selling.
A lot.
A lot
of yard selling.
A lot of yard selling.
For some reason, like, they picked up. It was every weekend, a massive yard sale. There would be a huge yard sale in one place and another. Yep. And we even took the scenic route through the mountains that one day. It wasn't a good yard sale day.
That wasn't worth the extra 30 minutes.
But we didn't know. But we do now.
Mm-hmm. Never going back that way again, probably.
Nope. It was a ride.
Yeah.
But that's true. Gas, we were really low.
How about you?
For me, I would say it has been managing the canning for the electricity costs.
Agree.
I think this has been the best I've ever done that, where I've not been doing it into the middle of the night.
Yes.
This is the first year I've not been up
like 1, 2 o'clock,
3, 4 o'clock. Now I will cook till 2 or 3 o'clock, depending on what we're eating that week on a Saturday night. But right now it's cool enough. I've actually been starting, earlier.
Yeah.
I've been making my bread and that's the part that takes the longest, is the prep work. Then I have to wait for all the prep work to go through, because if I'm making bread, I have to let it rise and then let it rise again, and then I can bake it. So I try to get all that done on the front end. because it's what takes the longest. And instead of having to start that at 8 o'clock, I'm getting to start that at like 2 o'clock.
Agree.
Which allows me to go to bed early. And using the thermal cooker. I'm going to do a video on this thing because I've done soup in it twice.
We need to.
And the soups have been amazing.
Yeah. I mean, they're the
It's
weekend
the first time he's actually touched it.
You're right. That weekend when you did the soup there, it was like 12 hours later.
Like 12 or 13 hours.
12 or 13 hours later, it was still hot to the touch in that thermal cooker. Yeah.
Yeah, it was still cooking. It was still doing its thing. It's that amazing.
Yeah.
I love this thing. It's like a slow cooker without any electricity at all once you start the process. And my method has worked out really well with cooking in it. So I'm definitely got to do a video on it.
Yeah. Well, if you've got any comments, questions, anything you want to hear in a future episode, you can send it over to thecannycouple@yahoo.com. And make sure to go over and check out our link tree with all of our other contents. And it's got a link down there to the eBay store as well if you want to go see what we have up.
Yep. We got a lot of stuff, different stuff.
And
as always, thank you for joining us on Rural Reliance with the Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.